and this is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial. Today, we're talking about crafting your retirement paycheck, how to turn savings into a steady income, avoid costly mistakes, and ensure you enjoy your retirement to the fullest. Think of your retirement saving like a car's fuel tank. If you drive too fast, you'll burn through your gas before reaching the next station. Reminds me of that Seinfeld where they were trying to test the limits of E. What?
I just remember that. And also, I just been more and more in my life relating to Seinfeld, specifically Costanza. And so I just think of that as I was writing. I'm like, dang, it always relates back to Seinfeld.
You ever do the E?
What, let it go to E?
No, you try to see how far you could get from E?
No.
I did it. It's fun.
Like when you were poor?
No, I do it now occasionally.
You have an electric car.
I have an electric car.
What's the biggest misconception from what you see that people have about how long their savings need to last, just based on like your clients and people you're meeting with?
The biggest misconception is that won't happen to me. I won't have an end-of-life issue or a retirement life issue that costs $174,000 or whatever it is, $200,000 a year for care. People either think they're poorer than they are, or they think they're richer than they are. Like, they're never usually completely accurate. They don't understand the impact of long-term care, particularly.
How do you help your clients plan for the impact of inflation and the rising healthcare costs?
Healthcare costs, you got to look at insurances and trusts. And this is where the prevailing wisdom of the Dave Ramseys of the world that you don't need insurance and things like that when you're older, wrong. Let's talk about withdrawal strategies next. When it comes to withdrawals, there's no universal rule. The common starting point for most people is the 4% rule, which is to withdraw 4% of your portfolio annually adjusted for inflation. If there is a rule, that's the rule. One researcher, Wade Fowles, says it's 1.9% when you account for market volatility. Dave Ramsey says 8 or 10 or something ridiculous, which is why dynamic strategies can be more effective. So we have a software where you can model out different methods of spending. So you could do bell curve spending, where you spend less in your early years, a lot more in your mid years of retirement, less when you get older. Some do what's called a retirement spending smile. So you spend a little bit more in your early years of retirement when you have your health and your wealth. Then you kind of go on a budget. So you go on that trip to Alaska, go on the trip to Haiti, you do all the things you want. Earlier years, you kind of get used to retirement, settle into budget. And then you factor in that in your later years, healthcare costs are going to rise. Bucket strategy. Splits your money into 3 categories. One is short-term needs. That's cash or equivalents to cover 1 to 3 years of expenses. I call that the volatility buffer. 2 is medium-term money. That's money to last you the next 3 to 10 years. So you might have 1 to 3 years in treasuries, or 1 to 4 years, 4 to 10 years in annuities or bonds or other fixed income investments for the next 5 to 10 years. And then stocks or exchange-traded funds or low-cost mutual funds to outpace inflation for 10 years and beyond. This approach provides flexibility during downturns. If the market's down, you pull from your cash or bonds, avoiding the need to sell stocks at a loss. It also helps you align your investments with your financial needs at different stages of retirement.
So how do taxes factor into withdrawal strategies, and what's the best approach to minimize tax burdens?
Taxes, besides healthcare costs, are probably your biggest factors. The hit, healthcare, inflation, taxes. So you have to factor in, when do you withdraw from Roths tax-free? When do you withdraw from your IRAs, which are all taxable? When do you take from your already taxed money? Do you take loans out against your house? Do you take a reverse mortgage? Taxes are huge. Because if you live in like a state like California, you live in Canada, taxes are a massive impact on athletes picking where they're going to play their last 10 years of their contract, or when a retiree is going to do it. Why do you think so many people move to Florida or Texas? So how do you minimize tax burdens over time? You look at Roths, you look at tax-free municipal bonds, you look at cash value insurances, you look at the spending order.
So for someone nearing retirement, what's the first step they should take to figure out a good withdrawal strategy that makes sense for them?
IRMA is another tax, income-related Medicare adjustment. Do you know if you make over a certain amount, they tax your Medicare more? And they don't call it a tax, they call it an income-related Medicare adjustment. They're not doing away with that. Trump's probably not doing away with that. So we have massive taxes on retirees who are in a fixed income. That's why I like Roths. That's why I like cash value insurances. That's why I like stocks that don't pay a dividend. A key rule is to not pay taxes on money you're not spending. Then we want to look to generating income in retirement. Here are some strategies. Part-time work, consulting, tutoring, or even seasonal work.
So what's one of the most creative ways you've seen someone generate income after retiring?
I had a client who just passed away last month. She gained a lot of joy volunteering and working for various ministries.
It's smart. I mean, it creates purpose, and I think you need that. And I think that's something I look at my parents, my dad especially, he ran a business. He was a podiatrist and sold the business and immediately started working for someone else part-time hours, but he just can't let it go. And it's not about the money anymore. It's just about having purpose, and he has no other hobbies. So,
well, we had a cadre of elderly men, which we called EMC squared, the elderly men crew.
That's great.
Rich, Carl, and Bill.
Is the barrier of entry, you have to have a one-syllable name?
And they worked for us for a number of years. 10 plus years. That one time we tried to upgrade the technology and the spreadsheet. Get ready to quit over this.
New technology for aging people is tough. I think a lot of people, that's when they start to think about retirement, when it just becomes too overwhelming or feeling like they have to learn too much to compete.
But what I loved about these gentlemen, they were gentlemen, and they were great on the phones, and they were great with the clients, and they were dutiful and caring and punctual and, prompt and conscientious. Next, we're going to talk about some common mistakes retirees make. Number one, ignoring inflation. We talked about this, but purchasing power can erode significantly. Number two, underestimating healthcare costs. Medicare does not cover long-term care, neither does your health insurance, and out-of-pocket costs can drain your savings. Number three, relying on a single income source. People rely too much on Social Security or one account type like a 401k can leave you exposed to risk. And number four, planning to fail for taxes. Poorly timed withdrawals, not having a withdrawal strategy, not understanding the difference between retirement stages, retirement guardrails, retirement spending smiles.
So what's one mistake you've seen that had major consequences for someone? Maybe it was a client or a personal story.
Not accounting for the IRMA tax. And then they're pulling money out of their 401k or IRA. And then that causes their Medicare premiums to go up. A lot of people think they do a 401k and IRA and they don't pay tax. You don't pay tax when it's growing, but you have to pay tax when you're retired and you don't have any write-offs. So when you're working, you generally have a mortgage interest write-off and your kids as a write-off. When you're retired, you don't have your two biggest write-offs and you're having to pull money out and pay income tax on it.
I mean, for healthcare specifically, what's a good first step to take in thinking about healthcare costs? Because I do think that's a big one that people, if you feel okay and you're inching towards retirement, but, unfortunately, the odds of something happening are high.
Open up an HSA. Healthcare costs, HSAs. Why? HSA, you grow your money tax-free, you get a tax deduction, you pull it out tax-free. So a lot of times people worry about HSAs in their 50s and 60s. But if you put in a couple $100s a month in an HSA today, you'll have $500,000 for your healthcare costs tomorrow. You got to start it now when you're young. That would be more important almost than a 401k. HSA. Number one, HSA. Number two, life insurance with a long-term care rider. Do you have it, Fisher? If you don't have it, get it through our office. We will shop it around for free. You put a couple $100s a month in now. That'll pay for your long-term care costs when you're 65. The reason you do it in your 20s and 30s is, you know why? The insurance costs are dramatically cheaper than when you're 65 and you start to worry about these things. Could I get you long-term care insurance when you're 60, 50? Yes. Is it going to be reasonable? We will do the best we can to give you the most reasonable care of cost coverage possible. It is so much cheaper to buy these things when you're in your 20s and 30s. Yes, you want to save money in the market now, but is it really going to hurt you to put $200 a month in to pay for your health care for the rest of your life? No. I'm going to give you 3 big steps. Do long-term care insurance when you're young. Do life insurance with a long-term care rider when you're young. Do HSAs when you're young. And if you're older, you can generally only afford one of those 3.
I'm going to throw out some scenarios, and you give us the best approach. You're 65 with $750,000 saved, but no annuity. How do you turn that into a paycheck?
You turn your paycheck into a playcheck. You could take $350, keep it in the market, take $300,000 and get $20,000 a year for life and an annuity for you and your wife, for you and your husband.
You're 55, behind on savings with $50K saved. What's your first step to catch up?
Whoa. Rob a bank. Get a second job. Do whatever you can. No, not rob a bank. A lot of people are behind and they go, Josh, what do I do? I'm so depressed. I'm never going to amount to anything. You know what you do? You save $50,000 a year for the next 10 years. It's $500,000 plus your growth. How do you do it? You get a part-time job. You turn a hobby into a job. You save, max out your 401k. You save $2,000-$3,000 a month. You do whatever you have to do.
I think too, when you feel like you're behind and you start to take it all in, you just got to take it step by step. Like go through your day to day, like look at your expenses, what can you start putting down on? Like you don't have to save, $10,000 a month, but
yeah, or $50,000 a year. If it's $1,000 a month, it's better than nothing. Do not despise the day of small beginnings. This is one of my favorite verses from the Tanakh. Like everything had a small start at one time or another. Planning your retirement isn't just about making your money last. It's about ensuring it works for you. From dynamic withdrawal strategies to finding ways to generate income, there are countless ways to secure a financially stable retirement. Small adjustments over time can lead to significant results tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.